A Runner's High by Dean Karnazes. I finished the audiobook this week. It's like 7 hours and 6 minutes long audiobook. It's actually narrated by him, so you actually get to hear him speak throughout the book. My opinion, it's the best out of his 3 that he's written, that I listened to. There's not really a lot of backstory in this book compared to some of the other ones. This is more straightforward with racing and experiences. There's really only 3 experiences in this book. It starts off by him doing this race, which is a little bit interesting. And then in the middle of the book, he goes overseas and visits the stands. There was a couple mentioned. I can't remember them offhand. All those countries with the with the stand at the end of them. And then the third part, the ending of the book, is all about Western states. So it basically banks off of the first one to the second one to the third one because, the first race that he does, he meets this guy who's like some diplomat for one of those countries over there that he goes and visits. And he's basically on a diplomatic mission, I guess is what you want to call it, showing people that the countries are united and whatnot. He's basically on I guess is what you call it, like a publicity tour, just showing like the countries are united and, that he's this super runner. And then, like I said, the third part's all about like Western states and his son helping him and his parents helping him, and a couple of different things that happened to him during Western states. It didn't really seem like a 7-hour long audiobook. It actually seemed more like a 2 to 3 hour, like it was more like a movie to me as I was listening to it than an actual like audiobook, just because it seemed like it went so fast through, or maybe just because I listened to it so quick. It only took me a couple of days this week to listen to it. It was just really interesting how he interacted with a couple guys at Western states. First he says like the guy made him mad, and then he saw the guy, I guess what you want to say is like down on his luck a little bit down the road during Western states. And then, they got to talking afterwards, and he felt bad for the guy wanting to see him actually succeed. But I know how that is when you're going through a race and like somebody passes you, or this guy was actually on his ass for a while, which was aggravating him. And I know when people do that to me, it aggravates me. So I interacted with that a lot. Just having his son there meant a lot to him during Western states, bringing back memories of when his son helped crew him years ago. I think what he said his first Western states was 24 years prior to like the book is like when he wrote the book. It's been out for, we'll say, 4 or 5 months now. I think it came out late 2022. This is end of January, so it came out a couple months ago. I think that's when it did. Either way, whatever. But he's done it Western states like a dozen times now. He's one of those people that got 1,000 miles in Western states. So that's one of those cool things about him. The only negative thing I have to say about the book, I would like a little bit more backstory, but at times he just seemed to self-promote a little bit too much and be like, hey, when he tells these stories about how he's interacting with people, people taking pictures of him and want autographs of his book. It just seems at times, that he's just like, hey, I'm this famous runner, people want my autograph or pictures with me because I'm this famous runner, instead of, just talking about like a race itself or like more of a backstory. That seems to sort of be a trend with all 3 books. If you get the chance to read all 3, if I was like him, I would take pride in people wanting my autograph or picture, but it just seems at times he's just more, hey, people want, I'm famous, people want this, I'm going to, I don't want to say throw it in your face, but like just the way he presents it, it's like throwing it in your face that, hey, I'm a famous runner. I've done all these cool things. People, want to take their pictures with me instead of actually like telling a story. So it takes away a little bit of the main plots of the story. But I did like how he went overseas and did that like diplomatic thing. He explained it a little bit more, going on a tour and actually like meeting with those people over there and actually taking pictures and time to like sign stuff and do things, because that's what that was all about over there. But like say like Western States, when he's talking about it, or the first race when he's meeting people, it was kind of just like, do you really need to bring that up instead of just telling the story what happened during the race? I like to use the Western States more about the book because that's the more interesting part to me. Towards the end, he actually goes in depth when he was like down and out in Western States a little bit on his last attempt, how he went to this dark place and actually thought he made up like a story in his mind, like how his son hated him, which it actually, as you're going through the audiobook, that those couple minutes in that audio part, you actually thought that happened, and then he like flips it on you where that was just something he, in that dark place during the race made up in his mind. So that's one of those things that I did like about the book, how he like sort of flipped that aspect to it. It got you thinking real quick, well, why would his son do that? Family bond type thing. And then you realize that that was just that dark moment in that place. Sort of like a plot twist, I guess is what you want to call it. It just turned the table on things like a little bit. It made you think, oh, wow, that really didn't happen. That's just like how his mind was playing tricks on him at that time during the race. Other than that, if you like his first two books, you're going to like this one because I feel this is the better of the three. I think it's his best work. It just goes into his like relationship a little bit more with his wife and hints at his son's relationship and how he does it. He loves his son, and he's thankful for his parents helping him and the support of his wife. So that's a cool aspect of the book. So if you do get a chance, read it or listen to it like I did. It's only 7 hours if you listen to it. I don't know how long it'll take you to read, but if you're gonna listen to it or read it, I would say listen to it because again, he's the one narrating it, so you get a little bit more feel from his voice and the perspective that he's bringing to the book instead of having somebody else. Where when other people sometimes narrate, you lose that aspect of like the personality. Where with him bringing it, you actually get the personality coming out a little bit more. So that's why another reason why I like it. So get a chance, listen to it, read it. Hope you enjoy it. But that's my quick little review of it.